Welcome, everyone, to another exploration in our Wisdom of the Church Fathers series. Today, we're turning our attention to Ignatius of Antioch, a really pivotal figure in the early church.
Absolutely. Ignatius gives us this remarkable connection point, doesn't he? He sort of bridges that gap between the apostles themselves and, well, everything that came after in Christian thought and practice. Yeah. And as Bishop of Antioch, which was, a major early Christian center, his writings give us this invaluable firsthand look at what the early faith actually believed, how it was structured.
Exactly. And today we're going to zero in on one specific letter, Ignatius's letter to the church in Tralles. We've got the text right here, and we'll touch on some background, too. Right. Our goal really is to unpack the core messages in this letter and think about why they still matter, particularly, perhaps, for theological students today. Mm-hmm. Before we jump in, though, if you value these kinds of discussions, please do take a moment to like this, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future installments.
Good point. And Ignatius's own life story really adds weight to his words, I think.
Yeah.
Being the Bishop of Antioch, writing these letters while he's literally on his way to Rome for martyrdom around 110 AD.
Wow, yeah.
It gives them this real sense of urgency. He's facing death, but he's still deeply invested in the spiritual health of these churches. And the letters, like the one to Tralles, they really get into the nuts and bolts of early Christian life.
And these weren't just casual notes, were they? I mean, he wrote to the Ephesians, Magnesians, Trallians, Romans, Philadelphians, Smyrnians, and also to Polycarp.
Mm-hmm. Another key figure.
Right. And you see these themes popping up again and again, what early Christians believed, how they practiced their faith, the critical role of the bishop, and these really stark warnings about false teachings. Mm. It shines a light on the actual struggles of the early church faith.
It really does. And the letter to the Trallians itself, it starts with this, formal but quite warm greeting. Ignatius calls himself Theophorus.
Which means God-bearer, right? Or something like that.
Often understood that way, yes. And he addresses the church in Tralles as beloved by God, holy, chosen, worthy. He talks about their peace coming through Christ's suffering, who he calls their hope through resurrection. It's a very powerful opening. Sets the theological stage immediately.
Yeah, it does. What struck me right at the beginning was how he praises their steadfastness. He says their bishop, Polybius, visited him and told him about their blameless and patient spirit. Mm-hmm. But then he says something interesting. It's not just habit, it's by nature. That's quite a statement.
It is, isn't it? And it really highlights how important local church leaders like Polybius were. Polybius visiting Ignatius, bringing this good report. Ignatius says it brought him great joy because he saw the whole Trallian church reflected in their bishop's godly character. That connection between churches, that mutual support, it's really noticeable.
Okay, let's maybe shift to one of the big themes in this letter. Obedience to church leadership. Ignatius really hammers this point home.
He certainly does. For Ignatius, obeying the bishop is, it's almost like obeying Christ himself. And similarly, he says, obey the presbytery, the elders or priests, as you would the apostles.
So he sees a direct line there.
Seems so. A continuity. The presbytery represents that apostolic teaching carried forward. And then there are the deacons. He's clear they're not just, administrators handing out food and drink.
Right.
He calls them servants entrusted with the mysteries of Jesus Christ. That term mysteries likely pointed to core practices, maybe the Eucharist, baptism.
So a significant spiritual role.
Exactly. Integral to the church's life, and they needed to be beyond reproach.
And the structure he lays out is pretty clear, isn't it? Bishop represents the father, presbyters are like God's council or the college of apostles, deacons embody Christ. And then that line, apart from these, there is not even the name of a church.
Wow, that's emphatic.
It is emphatic, but you have to remember the context. This wasn't just about power or rigid hierarchy for its own sake. Think about it. Scripture wasn't widely available like today.
Good point. The bishop was this vital, living link to the apostles' teaching. He was key for maintaining unity, especially when different ideas, some potentially harmful, were starting to circulate. So obedience wasn't blind submission. It was seen as a practical way to safeguard the authentic message.
That makes sense. He does seem pretty sure the Trallians already get this, though. He points to their love, and specifically their bishop's character, as evidence. Can you say more about how he saw that bishop?
Yeah, he paints a picture of the bishop's demeanor itself being a great lesson. His gentleness is described as a kind of power. Ignatius believes this bishop commands respect, even from outsiders, from the godless.
So the leader's personal conduct was crucial.
Absolutely. It embodied Christian values. It influenced how the whole community was perceived.
But even with all this emphasis on the bishop, Ignatius himself shows some, well, humility, doesn't he? He says he could write more forcefully, but holds back. He calls himself a convict and says he doesn't want to command them as if he were an apostle.
Right, and that shows a kind of nuanced view of authority. He clearly feels the weight of his message, his connection to the apostles, but he avoids being dictatorial. It suggests he valued guiding them through love and persuasion, not just issuing orders.
He also talks about his own need for humility, right? Recognizing profound thoughts but being wary of boasting. He even fears people praising him too much, calls it a scourge. Seems linked to his awareness of spiritual conflict.
Precisely. He talks about the unseen but very real envy of the devil. He feels this constant pressure, this spiritual battle. His desire to suffer for Christ is real, but it's mixed with this deep feeling of unworthiness. It's quite profound.
So gentleness isn't just a virtue for him.
It's strategic, a way to counter the prince of this world, as he puts it.
Okay, shifting gears slightly to the dangers he warns about. He tells the Trallians to take ye only Christian food and abstain from strange herbage, which is heresy. That's pretty direct.
Very direct. He uses vivid language. Heretics mingle poison with Jesus Christ. They offer deadly ideas disguised as something good, like poison in honeyed wine. It's a powerful warning about how deceptive false teaching can be.
And his advice is basically, stay connected, stick close to Jesus Christ, the bishop, and the apostles' teachings. He uses that inside-outside the sanctuary metaphor, too.
Yes, exactly. For Ignatius, unity with the recognized leadership and sticking to that apostolic tradition were the safeguards. If you operate outside that structure, your conscience isn't clean, he says. It highlights how much they valued accountability and shared belief for staying doctrinally pure.
And he gets very specific about one heresy, Docetism. This idea that Christ only seemed to be human, only appeared to suffer. He really goes after that one. Why was that so dangerous?
Oh, fundamentally dangerous, because the reality of Christ's incarnation and suffering was, for the early church, the absolute bedrock of salvation. If Jesus only looked human, if his suffering and death were just an appearance,
then the crucifixion loses its meaning.
Exactly. It undermines the whole basis of atonement, of redemption. It guts the gospel message. That's why Ignatius insists Jesus was truly from David's line, truly born of Mary, truly ate, drank, suffered under Pilate, was crucified, died, and crucially was truly raised by the Father. And that reality is what guarantees our resurrection too.
And he makes it personal, doesn't he? He asks us basically, why am I in chains? Why do I want to face the wild beasts if Christ's suffering wasn't real?
Right. So I die in vain. Truly then I lie against the Lord. It hits hard. The reality of Christ's passion is tied directly to the meaning of his own suffering and everyone's hope. If Christ's death wasn't real, the whole thing collapses.
He wraps that section up, warning against these vile offshoots producing deadly fruit. He says they're not the Father's planting.
And contrasts them with the true branches of the cross bearing imperishable fruit. The cross is where Christ invites us, his members, to join him, the head. That union is essential. True faith bears fruit connected to that reality of the cross.
Then as he closes the letter, he sends greetings from Smyrna, mentions his chains again, his longing for God, and he urges the Trallians again. Stay united, pray for each other, support your bishop.
And again, knowing his circumstances and chains, heading to martyrdom just gives those closing words immense power and authenticity. His focus is still outward, on their unity and well-being, even as he faces his end. Asking for their prayers really shows that sense of connection, of mutual support in the early church.
He finishes with this really strong call. Submit to the bishop and presbytery, love each other with an undivided heart. He offers his spirit for them. It's quite moving. And, for us, thinking theologically, it's a powerful picture of pastoral care under extreme pressure.
It truly is. This letter, it gives us such valuable insights into early church leadership, the reality of doctrinal challenges, and just the absolute centrality of the real incarnate crucified Christ. For anyone studying theology, it's a primary source window into the heart and mind of a key early Christian figure. These issues he raises, they still echo in theological discussions today.
Absolutely. So maybe something for you listening to reflect on. Ignatius' strong focus on unity, those defined roles in the church, his fierce defense of core beliefs against heresy. How might these early church concerns shape your own theological thinking, your own engagement with the church now?
And perhaps also consider the personal cost for Ignatius. His willingness to suffer, his deep commitment to guiding these communities. His example still offers, I think, a powerful way to think about Christian leadership and why holding on to sound doctrine mattered so much to him.
Well, thank you for joining us for this look into Ignatius of Antioch and his letter to the Trallians, part of our Wisdom of the Church Fathers series. If you found this valuable, please do like this. Subscribe to our channel for more discussions like this one.
Definitely.
And click that notification bell so you know when new content is up. And please, share your own thoughts or questions down in the comment section. We really do look forward to continuing the conversation with you there.
Yes, indeed. Your engagement, your questions, they really do enrich this whole process. We hope you'll continue to explore the Church Fathers and share what you find with the community.
So one last reminder, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and comment below. We really appreciate you being here and exploring these important texts with us.